Hey everyone, it's Sean. I'm back at Saving Scales Reptile Rescue here in Michigan, sporting some of their sweet gear. And today I'm going to be talking to you about tortoises. So the tortoise I got for you today is considered the 4th largest or sometimes 5th largest tortoise in the world, depending on what your parameters are. So I'm going to go ahead and pick this guy up and describe him to you so you can kind of get a good look. So, yeah, there we go. This here is a leopard tortoise. And obviously, a wee little baby. I love leopard tortoises because of the awesome patterning all over their shells. So you can kind of see they got some very awesome yellows mixed with black outline going into beigeish brown and then some black patterning. A very, very cool tortoise. When these guys become full grown, they're actually about 16 to 20 inches in diameter, and they have a very nice dome shell that sometimes sits up like close to 10 or 12 inches. Now, unlike a lot of tortoises, they don't have what's called a nuchal scute. Those are two kind of cool words, but usually a nuchal scute is a piece of the shell that comes out right here that protects its head. These guys don't have them, but you notice there is some ridging right there. So, like a lot of tortoises, if they feel defensive, they'll actually use their shell as a form of defense. They have big sturdy legs that have very, very thick plating on the front of them. And what they'll do is literally use their shell like a ram and go forward and keep hitting. Their big strong legs give them plenty of grip on the ground and sturdiness, and they'll rock back and forth and hit forward with their shell. With a lot of tortoise species, including this one, that's how males can fight for territory. And with these guys, that's actually how males will get a female's attention in order to try and mate with them. So kind of a weird mating ritual, but still kind of cool. He's finally poking his little head out so we can see. Now, tortoises can be very curious. They're going to be a little bit shy at first. It took him a couple minutes to go ahead and come out of his shell. But now he realizes I'm not a predator or anything. There's nothing to worry about. Now, little guys like this could be potential food for some larger animals. But once these guys reach adulthood, there's very few things that could ever come after them. Mainly, they got the thick shell, which each of these little places is called a scute. And each one of those is made out of keratin, which is the same thing our fingernails are made out of. And as I mentioned, they have the very, very prominent scales here on the front that act like shields. So it's very hard for animals to want to get through that, so most animals aren't going to mess with the tortoise to try to get them. Now, these guys come from sub-Saharan Africa, mainly the eastern and western sides of Africa. They prefer arid regions, sometimes some forest area, and as I mentioned, like savanna area. So they tend to munch on a lot of tall grasses, some shrubbery, any type of vegetation that they can find. And because of the area that they come from, it goes through different seasons. So there'll be dry seasons, there'll be wet seasons. So during the wet season, these guys can go down the water and actually hold their breath for over 10 minutes. And then they also, because of the placement of their lungs, can float very, very well. And then during the dry season, they actually hold on to water, can sometimes go weeks without having to reach a water source, or sometimes even longer, up to months. For a lot of tortoise species, they will actually get their hydration from the food that they're eating. So as long as they are eating things that hold lots of water, like leafy greens and shrubbery, then they're getting their hydration that way. He just peed all over my hand. I'll just wipe that on the couch and hope no one notices. Sometimes they do that when they get a little bit scared. But again, he's still kind of realizing what's going on here. Now, a lot of people will look at tortoises as being a good pet. They can be under the right care. But what you have to remember with tortoises is that these guys live a very, very long time. A tortoise like this will easily live 50 years or more. The problem with a lot of tortoises is we don't really know how long a lot of them can live. Majority of the time they end up outliving their owner, whether that owner just passes them on to one person or the next, or if they end up passing away. So tortoises just get passed around to different people. I use the word pass a lot during that one. But they're very, very long-lived as long as they're kept in a healthy environment. So like a lot of other reptiles, they need UVB radiation in order to process calcium in their body. So humans, we get calcium from things like cheeses and milk. Well, these guys are going to get it from their food. But in order for it to help keep their shell nice and strong and their bones nice and strong, they have to have natural sunlight. And that sunlight puts out what's called UVB radiation. We can replicate this in captivity with special light bulbs, but you have to make sure that you're changing those bulbs regularly and checking them. Typically, a UVB bulb is going to last between 3 to 6 months, depending on the bulb. So you should be changing those out regularly, because otherwise, without them, they're not going to get the health requirements that they need. And, oh, you're pooping. Everybody poops. Yep. Keep going there. Man, this is the second video in a row I've done where animals decide to go to the bathroom. Everybody poops. It's okay. So, I hope you guys learned a little bit about tortoises today. This little guy's getting curious, and he also has been releasing his bowels, so I'm going to go ahead and put him back in his cage. We got to give him his close-up, as he looks like he's flying. Oh, thanks for peeing on me some more. But he is awfully cute. So, alright. I hope you learned something.